on AFR Talk, and if you're watching on the AFA channel, the skyline of beautiful and glorious New York City, where just north of here, where we're coming to you from, Charlie Rangel, who still talks like this. He declared victory in his race last night. Good people of Harlem. Yes, I know I cheated. I know I cheated the taxpayers on my rent-controlled apartment. And I know that I, had to be censored by the United States Congress, but you can't keep Charlie Rangel down. No. Actually, the guy that was running against him in the Democratic primary, I cannot for the life of me tell if he's a shade of anything better. So in that race, it's kind of a draw for me. I don't know. But they're going to fight it out, and that's going to be interesting because Charlie Rangel's promised to step down from Congress in 2016. He's been there 23 terms. That's a long time in the United States Congress. One other story that I want to roll into the mix of things we're discussing today, and then we'll go back to your calls. Vice President Biden yesterday, or as I like to call him, Dr. Teeth. Vice President Biden went to speak to a group of people about gay rights, or as I like to call them, special preferences for those who like to have sex with people just like themselves. But he was sent in this effort to kind of mobilize a global front against discrimination and violence, and so he goes to speak to these people, saying that protecting gay rights, i.e. special preferences for people who want to have sex with people just like themselves, is a defining mark of a civilized nation. See, I don't think people having sex with people who are just like themselves is a defining mark of a civilized nation. But he didn't stop there. He said not only is it a mark of a civilized nation for people that wish to have sex with people just like themselves to be allowed to do so, but then he went on to say that desire from someone to have sex with someone who's just like themselves, that desire must trump all national cultures and social traditions. Biden told a gathering of U.S. and international gay rights advocates, in other words, people that advocate for special preferences for people who like to have sex with people just like themselves. He told that gathering that President Barack Obama has directed that U.S. diplomacy and foreign assistance promote the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, men and women around the world. I'm sorry, the cartoon characters weren't in there. It was just the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, MOUSE. No, so Biden's telling these people that we're going to withhold foreign assistance based on how much recognition you give to people who want to have sex with people just like themselves, and if we don't think you're giving them enough, leniency or comfort or support or tax breaks or whatever it is that he's wanting them to give them, if we don't feel like they're doing enough of it, giving them enough special preferences, then the threat is we may withhold assistance for your country. Biden told about 100 guests at the Naval Observatory's vice presidential mansion, "I don't care what your culture is, inhumanity is inhumanity is inhumanity, prejudice is prejudice is prejudice. The inhumanity is inhumanity is inhumanity" is an interesting statement, given that 97% of most male homosexuals have been at some point in time initiated by an older man. You might call it sexually abused or raped, but the scientists call it initialized. Let's see. Yeah, inhumanity. Prejudice is prejudice is prejudice. So if I don't think that some forms of sex are moral. Now I'm a prejudiced person. No. Let me explain very easily what he's talking about here. Joe Biden believes that because he claims that people are born gay and there is no scientific link to a gay gene, a gay chromosome, a theory of gay biology, there's no medical link, there's no biological link, there's no genetic link to anybody being born, being forced to have sex with people just like themselves. But he believes that. So his belief that is the case then shapes everything. This is why worldview matters, friends, and this is why we talk about all the time, obliterating confusion and amplifying truth. When Joe Biden talks about gay rights, and this, I got to take some people writing of this story, I think it was the AP, to task here, because it's all a facade. It's not about gay rights. There are no rights being discussed about happy people. What we're talking about here are people that choose to engage in a certain style of sex. And because they choose to engage in that style of sex, whether it's in their head, in their heart, or with their body, they're engaging in that style of sex, either in their heart, in their head, or with their body. Because they do that, they believe that they are owed some sort of reparations, preferences. I want to have a reason to get in front of the line in front of everybody else. And friends, statistically, there's not even any merit for that, because when you look at the average income of a homosexual couple, it's like 5 times that of the average married couple. So, but this administration, and particularly the president and the vice president, have made such a big honking deal about how gay-friendly that their policies have been and what they're going to do to see to it that people who make choices to engage in sexual behavior with people just like themselves get preferences to get at the front of the line. That's what this is really about. There's no such thing as gay rights. There's no right being denied a person who engages in homosexual activity. They can even get married, because marriage is the union of a man and a woman. You go to the justice of the peace and you say, hey, I'm a guy, and here's the girl I'm going to marry, and we're here to get our license. We sign it, turn it in, blah, blah, blah. You got it done. You go get married. It doesn't matter if you want to have sex with her or if you want to have sex with your best man. That's not, they don't ask that at the justice of the peace counter. They just accept marriage is a union of a man and a woman. And so as long as you show up with a woman and you put her name down and you're the guy, you can get married. It doesn't matter who you want to have sex with. You're not being withheld the right to get married. Biden went on to say, I don't care what your culture is. Inhumanity is inhumanity. Prejudice is prejudice. And then the AP writer for the story says, with anti-gay laws taking root in nearly 80 countries, Biden and other top White House officials met with religious, human rights, and HIV healthcare advocates in a forum dedicated to promoting gay rights internationally. So it's all about how to make the gay thing be more accepted and be more out there. And the truth is, as long as we have freedom of religious expression and belief, there's just going to be some people that just don't go along with it. And the vice president just needs to kind of get over that. Even if it becomes the majority of the opinion in America, you're still going to have massive numbers of people, and it's not like slavery. And that's the other kind of insidious thing about this. They tried to make this a comparison to slavery. Well, culture is culture, and we're not gonna let your culture dictate what our humanity should dictate. As if freeing blacks from slavery is in some way comparable to letting people that choose to have sex with people that are just like themselves get to the front of the line on everything socially now. Like I don't know very many African Americans that don't really deeply resent the message of the civil rights movement being co-opted by people that are just choosing to have sex with certain people. They're like, yeah, I don't think your plight's quite what you're making it out to be, and it's certainly nothing like what our family went through. Maybe it's one of the reasons why the president's poll numbers are now at 40 points approval, and in foreign policy he's down to 36. Pretty tough stuff. Okay, more of your calls, 888-589-8840. Let's go to, let's take Bobby in Florida next. Bobby, I appreciate your patience. You're on with Kevin McCullough. Hi.
Hi, Bobby. Kevin, thank you very much. This is Bobby. I'm from Florida, traveling in Oklahoma, listening to your radio program, and I love it. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it makes very sense. Yes, there was a culture like for gay and lesbians and all like that at one time, and it's called Sodom and Gomorrah. So, God did destroy that part of it anyway.
Yeah.
But my reason for calling was I haven't found, and I travel for a living all over the United States, and I haven't found any person that said that they voted for Barack Obama. I can't find them. I'm sorry, I can't. I've asked. And the next thing that I would say is, where is our?
So what are you implying from that, Bobby?
That I don't know how the man got elected. I just don't. I really don't know how, because Republican, Democrat, whatever. But I haven't found people that said stand up and say, yes, I voted for him. I don't agree with his policies, or I do, but I just can't find them. I don't know how.
Bobby, you come to New York, and I can walk you through many neighborhoods of people that nothing but voted for him. So
okay, well, the next one would be, as far as him allowing our military to do what they should be doing over in Iraq and Afghanistan. One, we should have never left Iraq. I just don't believe we should have left. And where's our General Patton? If in the Battle of Baghdad, Patton would have circled Baghdad and said, listen, I'm coming in tomorrow morning. Anybody there with a gun is not going to be living. And taking care of that. But we've got a president, like you said, that says we're going to, dismantle. But I believe what the lady said a while ago is he's trying to dismantle the United States. And why don't he allow the military to do what we should be doing? And because in World War II, we went in and stopped genocide, and we stopped these things of what we call terrorists today. But I believe that you're setting the right example of what you're saying in your radio program is that our president is setting us up for another attack. And I don't know if he's trying to get a third term out of it, because no president's ever been ousted during a wartime. I'm a big historian.
Well, George W. Bush was I mean, he didn't get a third term, and we were still at war in both Afghanistan and Iraq when he left. Here's the interesting thing about this, and let me just and he can't run a third time. This is the second time I've had to deal with this in the last 24 hours. I got an emailer that listened to the show that said, no, Kev, he can run a third time if he wins like 80% of the vote. No, that's not true. He's done. 2 terms is it. That's it. No more. Can't do more than that. But here's the thing. On May 23rd of 2013, President Obama himself said, America's at a crossroads. We must define the nature and scope of this struggle, or else it will define us. What we can do, what we must do, is dismantle networks that pose a direct danger to us and make it less likely for new groups to gain a foothold. He's talking about the terrorists. He's not dismantling them, though. He went on to say, lethal yet less capable al-Qaeda affiliates, threats to diplomatic facilities and businesses abroad, homegrown extremists. This is the future of terrorism. We have to take these threats seriously and do all we can to confront them. Right now, there's a whole bunch of terrorists running around in northern Iraq that we're doing nothing to confront. And I'm not saying you have to put boots on the ground, but you could carpet bomb those guys with drones. Just make their living existence an absolute tortured experience. 888-589-8840. Let's go back to the phones. Georgia's calling from Arkansas. Hi, Georgia. Welcome.
Oh, I listen to you every day. I've been
Thank
in bed
you.
for about 2 years.
I'm so sorry.
And if half of the people in the United States, from what I've heard, I listen to American Family Radio all day long. If half of them knew what was going on, they'd be voting conservative all over the United States. That wasn't what I called about, really. How did Cochran get away with calling out Democrats to vote when it was illegal for them to vote for him if they had voted Democrat before?
Well, there's a nuance to that. It's not quite that simple, and the way it works is this. If they had voted in the Democratic primary, they weren't allowed to vote in this one. What Cochran's group would say is they went out and targeted people that had supposedly not voted in the Democratic primary. Whether that's true or not, we may never know. All right, Kevin McCullough, really glad to have you with us. Final thought today. It's pretty hard for me to add anything to what the president said in May of 2013. When he says we have to confront these terrorist threats seriously, I believed him. When he said we need to dismantle networks that pose a direct danger to us and make it less likely for new groups to gain a foothold, I agreed with him. Why doesn't the president agree with himself? I guess that's my question that I'm kind of left hanging with today. And it's a haunting one, given what happens when you ignore terrorists while they're at war with you. Nothing good, usually. I'm Kevin McCullough. So glad you're with us each weekday. AFA today on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher and Focal Point on the way. This is the American Family Radio Talk Network.